My first excellent run ashore, Gibraltar. It was actually my first run ashore that was not in the UK. And got down there in 82. You'll know, when you leave Plymouth, you could have nice weather, but generally it isn't. And you only have to steam south across the Bay of Biscay and it suddenly starts to perk up. And by the time you're hitting the coast of Portugal and going by, it's becoming a completely different world. And by the time you're getting through the Straits of Gibraltar into the Med, it is a completely different world. When you see the rock appear on the horizon for the first time, especially if it's got the Levanta, that long cloud over it, it's a magical sight. Gibraltar, although it's the Mediterranean and it faces Africa, it's like being in an English town. I'm sure the Spanish Gibraltarians may say differently, but it was just a great place to be introduced to a different climate and a different place, but still have this almost Englishness. It felt like home, and I love Gibraltar.
Gib was a great stopping off place, wasn't it? And it was that home from home, but still overseas. And it was always a really good opportunity to let your hair down. I can understand why you'd like that.
I was gifted, unlooked for, a long stay, because I posted on the Aurora Facebook group just recently about, I couldn't remember the date. Turns out no one else can remember the dates. But just before the Falklands, we got to Gibraltar. Spring train had happened, an annual exercise out in the Med. We were steaming away somewhere and we had to turn around. Now, some people have this memory that the Falklands had happened. We were steaming south. We transferred over all our stores to the Coventry because we were anti-submarine warfare. We weren't going to go much further. And then we came back and they may have got something stuck round the propeller. So the ship had to go into dry dock for about a month and a half. And everybody was taken off the ship. I ended up at RAF North Front, which was the closest you can get to the Spanish closed border at that time, which meant I would walk to the ship all the way through the town. So I got to know Gibraltar really well and was there long enough that we got leave, and then I literally going up the rock. Me and Del Ravalde, all right, Del, I know you're listening, we're at the top of the rock and clay pigeon shooting. And it was just this magical view all the way over to Africa. Clear day, and you can see Algeciras and into Spain. Brilliant. So I got to know it very quickly.
If I'm to be honest with you, mate, when I got to Gib, I didn't really do very much in Gibraltar other than walk up the rock. Your recollection of Gibraltar is probably far more nuanced than mine. You come through a tunnel through the rock onto a beach area, which was like a pebbled beach area. And I can remember going down there with a couple of lads, Doc Savage and co. And we would be bronzy on the beach. I didn't really engage much with anything else outside of the drinking establishments in Gibraltar. It was just that great place to get off the ship and wet your whistle, let your hair down.
And there was a set run, wasn't there? You came out the dockyard gates, and the first one, I think, if I remember, there was a little roundabout, or you go across and then you're into the main drag, and there was the Donkey's Flip-Flop, which was the horseshoe. If you went further on, it was towards the barrel house. There was a shed load. So Gibraltar was memorable because the sheer amount of times that I ended up going there, because every time I deployed, it was always through the Med to Egypt to go out to the Gulf and then coming back. So it was always the stopping off point and it was always the first point. So that's my memory.